Communion, a man-made practice founded within Christianity that neither Yeshua or his disciples ever taught or practiced. Why do we do communion? What is the purpose of it? We do communion out of man-made traditions and practices. When Yeshua said, "Take this bread and wine, and do this in remembrance of me," this Last Supper, or quote-unquote communion, as Christians like to call it, was actually around the Passover, an important feast day that Yahweh, our Creator, commanded us to follow. And no, it is not for the Jews only. If we are to follow in the ways of Yeshua, why don't Christians do Passover? Who came up with this idea for this communion, to be taken once a month, standing straight, staring at the podium, asking for forgiveness seconds before taking the bread cracker and drink, to feel etiquette enough to partake in it, to get one's life quote-unquote right with God, the moment of or the day of communion? The last thing you want is for your Christian peers to see that you're not partaking in this so-called communion. To imagine that the drink and the bread is literally the blood and body of Yeshua. How cannibalistic and draconian can this get? It becomes a repetitive practice for many with no true meaning behind it. Do you think Yahweh is pleased with communion? As stated earlier, Yeshua never commanded communion. He commanded that we do his Father's will and obey his Father's commands. Yeshua did not add or take away from the Father's words. Rather, Yeshua came to restore the lost words of our Creator, because man have a tendency to do their own will. Read Jeremiah 8:8 as a reference. Our Creator, Yahweh, has laws and guidelines for us. For example, the Ten Commandments. But he also has feast days for us to observe, and one of these feast days is Passover. Ditch communion and consider Passover, Yahweh's true communion, where you're at a table with friends and family, laughing, talking, praying, creating memories. And it's once a year, not once a month. Eating good, wholesome food, and not some cheap cracker and red drink. Doing it all in the remembrance of Yeshua, the Messiah, as he stated. With no longer needing to sacrifice animals, without needing to imagine that we're drinking the blood and eating the flesh of Yeshua, but with the mindset of gratitude towards our Creator for bringing the Messiah who has paved us towards the new covenant, Eden restored. This is what our Creator has to say about our man-made practices. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 13 to 17. Bring no more vain offerings. Your incense is an abomination to me. Your new moons, Sabbaths, convocations. I can't stand evil assemblies. My soul hates your new moons and your appointed feasts. They are a burden to me. I am weary of bearing them. When you spread out your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Yes, when you make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. Put away the evil of your doings before my eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do well. Seek justice. Relieve the oppressed. Defend the fatherless. Plead for the widow.